respect to the affidavit that you signed in December of 2008, before you signed it, did Mr. Harvey, and I know he's going to tell you not to answer, but I have to make the question, did Mr. Harvey tell you that you needed to be very careful and think about everything that happened on that day?
Objection. Attorney-client privilege.
Okay.
Directing him not to answer.
Okay. Is there any document that you looked at between the time you signed your interrogatory answers in August of 2009 and today that you hadn't looked at before you signed your interrogatory answers that led you now to be certain that insulin was given?
Spending more time than I did previously, even though it was taken seriously, I was given instruction, but there were oversights specifically, and then I realized that, and just thinking it through more and more and trying to determine, and I just spent more time looking at the information, including the calendars.
Well, did you look at the calendar before you looked at the interrogatories?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You saw the big I on a bunch of the dates?
There are maybe 3 or 4.
But at that time, you weren't sure that the I referred to insulin, correct?
Objection. I don't think he said that.
Well, I'm asking you.
You're asking me what? That I didn't...
At the time you signed your interrogatories in August, you just testified that you had looked at the calendar in connection with that, correct?
Yes.
You saw the big I written on a number of dates, right?
Between looking at the calendar and writing the document, I just didn't include it. It was a mistake.
But after you saw the I, and you only wrote that you had possibly given insulin. So as of...
Objection. It's prior testimony is what it is.
As of August 2009, you had seen the calendars, right? You'd seen them at or about the time you signed these responses to the interrogatories, right?
I looked at the calendars, yes.
Okay.
I did not study them in as great a detail as I did most recently.
Well, let's talk about the details. Where's the document? Let me give it back to him. Let me give you back. He should have all of the exhibits. But I'll give you another copy.
Okay.
I mean, looking in detail on this calendar, let's understand, it's 2 pages, right? On the first page, there's a big I on the 30th. Are you saying that you didn't see the I? You didn't notice the I on the first page and then the other I's on the second page at the time you looked at this calendar in connection with signing the interrogatories? Yes or no?
To put this in perspective, if you look at on the same calendar you're bringing my attention to, do you see the E that's crossed out? Do you see an E that's crossed out?
Yeah.
There was a discussion going on, okay, and things were changed, and there were, something is notated. Did he actually end up taking the E on the 13th? No, he did not, but there was an E on the calendar. The point I'm trying to make is this was something that I just did not recall initially in looking at this calendar.
I understand, but when you looked at it in August of 2009 and you saw the I...
I'm going to give you the same answer I've given you 5 times in a row.
It's a different question.
What's the different question?
When you looked at the calendar in August of 2009, at the time you were signing your interrogatory responses under oath, and you saw the I, why then, after seeing it, did you only say in your sworn statement that you may have possibly given him insulin.
Mr. Bernstein, I tried to clarify earlier that I gave information to attorneys who basically wrote these affidavits just like you likely write them for your clients, okay? And I looked at it, and it was an oversight to see that this was not included, and I signed it.
I'm asking about the one where you mentioned, in August, you mentioned insulin, but you only said possibly insulin.
Well, this is, once again, it has to do with looking at even at the calendar, that you see the changes were made, and I needed to think about this in greater detail. And I have since then.
Didn't you
And even before today, I thought it through even more, because I knew you'd be asking me this exact question.
Didn't you testify earlier that the I that you had on this calendar was put on numerous other calendars for other athletes?
Yes.
So you knew what the I meant, right?
Yes.
So why on earth, in August of 2009, when you looked at the calendar, were you only able to say that it possibly may have been insulin that you gave him?
Because I didn't have a clear recollection
Okay. All right, let's move on.
at that time.
Let's move back to exhibit. What's the exhibit?
Exhibit 6.
The affidavit?
The affidavit 6, the drug order.
Hold on a second. Let me just. I'll do that. Hold this. I want to look at this as a break. Okay. You also wrote paragraph 26 of exhibit 6.
Just not that he wrote that. He
That
signed a document that...
Signed a document, okay. You wrote that Mosley, Hudson, and I agreed that Mosley and Hudson should not carry the drugs on the airplane flight back to Southern California, so I shipped the same to Hudson via Federal Express, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't completely true, was it?
Objection as to characterization.
Okay, but you can answer. That wasn't a completely true statement, was it?
It's not a completely accurate statement.
Because in fact, your testimony today is that there were illegal drugs taken.
Well, once again, after further review of the calendar and realizing that in front of me, he took the clear and EPO, and on Sunday, this triggered my recollection, two things. There's a C on the calendar, so he had to have it to be able to take it. And two, in Shane's testimony, the issue comes up, and we talked about the cover story of flaxseed. And that's when I gave him the cover story, because when they carried the stuff on the bag, if I told them if they asked him about it, that they could say it was flaxseed.